Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Cognitive Recalibration Podcast. I'm your host Sravan. We don't have Tyron with us because we kind of came to an agreement that he would host the Game of Thrones show and I would host the Aladdin one. So we're kind of split up on this one. And I was just on the phone with Will Smith's agent and unfortunately he's cancelled on this one. I was almost going to do it by myself, but we got someone better than Will Smith in the end. So we've got an ultra-talented artist and YouTuber, Kavya. She's also a big Disney fan, so she entered the world of YouTube with a cover of A Whole New World. And lastly, just to, throw it out there, she's also my wife. So welcome.
Hey guys, I wouldn't call myself a YouTuber. I've only got like 5 songs up there.
But you're going to have more.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Maybe something from this movie.
I thought it would be good to have you on because you're such a big Disney fan and obviously
I am, yes.
A musician as well. So you can talk about the music in this movie because it is a musical.
It's amazing, yeah.
So if you haven't figured it out yet, we're going to be talking about the Aladdin movie that came out this year, 2019 Aladdin. So we're not talking about the 1992 Aladdin, although we will be mentioning it because it is a direct remake of it. So we're going to do non-spoilers first, in case you haven't seen Aladdin, because, it has been out for like 27 years or something now. But we are going to do non-spoilers and then we'll do spoilers. But as usual, I've got a Who Am I? And since this is a Disney movie, I thought we'll do a Disney-themed Who Am I? Let's see how you guys go. It's not a very hard one. It's hard to do a Disney Who Am I that people don't know about unless you haven't watched any Disney movies. So here we go. I was a traveller studying the African lands and eventually stumbled upon the Pride Lands, where I was attacked by a young pack of hyenas. I was saved by Ahadi, a former ruler of the Pride Lands. Eventually taking residence in the vast lands, I soon became close companions with Ahadi's son, and one day overheard a plot to sabotage the throne and managed to foil it. My heroic performance throughout that event led Ahadi to request me to serve as an advisor for all future kings. As the years went on, I started to live in an ancient tree where I regularly performed shamanistic activities. I still remain a close friend of the royal family. My goal in life is to maintain the balance and the circle of life. Who am I?
I know this one.
Okay.
Can I say?
No, not yet.
Oh.
So what we do is we generally say it at the start of the episode and we give the listeners some time to digest the information and we reveal the answer at the end of the episode. But I think most people will know who this is. Okay, so we'll move on to Aladdin. I've got some info about this movie, who's acted in it, who's directed it, and then we'll move on to our thoughts on it. So it was released on the 24th of May of this year in the US and I think worldwide as well. Most places it released on the same day. It's directed by Guy Ritchie, who's actually one of my favorite directors. I really like his style. But this movie, when he was first announced for this movie, I thought he was an interesting choice because his style is quite different to a Disney movie. So I'll go through some of his previous works and you'll understand why I'm saying that. So he directed Snatch, which is well known for back in 2000, but he directed the 2 Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr., Man from U.N.C.L.E. and King Arthur Legend of the Sword. And basically his style it's very stylized, I guess. His stylized action, that's what he's kind of known for. He's got a mark of his own in terms of directing. And I was kind of apprehensive because I thought since he's directing an Aladdin movie, maybe he'll have to sort of follow the Disney script and not do his own thing. But he gets a chance to show a bit of his flair in parts of this movie, which I'll talk about in spoilers. What did you think of the directing overall?
I thought it was really well done, actually. I was pretty skeptical going in to see this film because it is such a classic and a lot of remakes. I don't know. I'm not sure whether they tend to live up to the original movies themselves, but I really enjoyed this, and I thought it was very well directed, and I think they captured a lot of the crucial things from the original film that we all probably wanted to see, and they did it really well, but in a live action.
Yeah, and they did change a couple of things.
They did, yep.
But I thought the things they changed actually made it better.
Yeah. I think so.
So we'll talk about that more in spoilers. Cast-wise, everyone knows who's in this movie, but we'll talk about it anyway. So Will Smith is a genie.
Yes.
Mina Masood is Aladdin. Yeah. Naomi Scott is Jasmine. And Marwan Kenzari is the new Jafar. Talk about their performances in more detail, but I thought everyone was pretty good. Just in general, I thought everyone was pretty good. I think you think differently, but...
No, I thought most of them were good. There were just a couple of little things that I would have probably changed, but I thought the cast itself was amazing. It was more to do with, I think, costume and makeup and just the way one particular character was portrayed in the film. But I'll get into that in a little bit more detail later.
I think I know who you're talking about. But yeah. It's interesting that Will Smith is sort of the title character in this movie, considering he's not the title character. So Aladdin is the main character, but his name comes up first in terms of actors. So, I mean, he's the biggest actor in the movie, so fair enough.
Yeah.
Budget-wise, so it cost $183 million to make. It's on the expensive side, actually, but fair enough. There's a lot of visuals, costumes, CGI, so it is going to be expensive. So far, box office-wise, it's made $293.6 million worldwide, and this is about a week after it's come out. It's doing okay, not bad. I mean, it's not shattering the box office like some of the previous live-action Disney remakes, which we'll also talk about later in the episode, so the likes of Jungle Book or Beauty and the Beast, but it's doing well enough. Okay, we'll talk about the story, non-spoilers. Usually I get the guests to talk about the story, non-spoilers, but I'll do it this time because it's a pretty generic story. So a street rat finds the love of his life and a mysterious lamp that releases a genie that can grant him 3 wishes. I mean, that's...
That's really... That doesn't say much.
That doesn't say much, but it also says a lot because that's really all the story is. It's a classic, so everyone knows Aladdin. So I guess we'll jump into the review now. And my question, I always have a really cheesy question to start the review, and this one is no different. Did Aladdin take you to a whole new world? Doesn't sound like it.
That's a really cheesy question. I thought Mina Masood did an amazing job. I think he was on par with my expectations of what Aladdin would be like in this film compared to the original. So I thought he did a really, really good job. There were 2 characters that probably I thought did better than the actual characters from the original, and I'll get into that later.
Well, you can say it now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to follow your cues. 2 characters that I thought were amazing was obviously Naomi Scott as Jasmine. I think the way she portrayed the character Jasmine was actually better in this film than the original. I think Jasmine has always meant to be, that really strong-willed, rebellious character that sort of fights for what's right. I think that's always been the intention behind that character, but I feel like in the original it didn't really come across as well as the performance Naomi Scott gave in this film. So I think that for me was one of the highlights. And I think the Sultan actually was better in this film than in the original. Would you think that?
Yeah, I agree. I think both Jasmine and the Sultan were much better in this movie.
Much better, yeah.
They just made them stronger characters in general.
Stronger characters, yeah.
The Sultan in particular was pretty weak. Considering he had so much power in the kingdom, he was a pretty weak character in the original, and it was a little bit of a...
He was a bit, I don't know, naive and a bit childish, I think, in the original film. Like that power that he's meant to wield as the Sultan didn't really come across in the original film. But I think in this one you can see that he's that wise old man that he's meant to be, I guess, as a Sultan, and with that all that sort of experience behind him. Yeah, so I thought that was done really well.
And Jasmine was very, very good as well.
Yeah, I loved her performance. I thought she did an amazing job. And I thought that was an excellent choice for, casting.
In terms of casting, yeah,
really. I think majority of the cast were really well cast, actually. Yeah. I thought Will Smith did an amazing job as the genie. And the way they used CGI with sort of, to make him genie / also,
Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith was good, because there was a lot of criticism about that when the first trailer came out. A lot of people were like, oh, you know, I'm not looking forward to it. The genie's just Will Smith and he's just painted blue.
Yeah, and he didn't look very good. But,
yeah.
I mean, he still didn't look very good, in my opinion, in terms of when he was the genie. He just looked a bit weird, like an expanded version of Will Smith.
Of himself.
If he was just Will Smith but blue, maybe it would have actually been all right, but he was kind of like this muscular guy. And it just kind of didn't fit, but...
They balanced it out, though, by making
him normal sometimes.
In certain things, and sort of having that mix, which I thought worked well. So it wasn't just continuously him blue throughout the entire film.
Yeah, but his performance-wise, he was really good. Obviously, Robin Williams was a stand-up comedian, so he took the sort of comedy route when he did the role, whereas Will Smith, he was kind of did the more like the Fresh Prince sort of
it was a
route.
different take. For me, I think nothing will beat Robin Williams as the genie.
Yeah,
he's always going to be the genie, I think, in my heart. But I think Will Smith did do an excellent job.
With the options they had at the moment, I think he did a good job. He was very funny as well. Like he was funny in his own way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Robin Williams does like the imitations and stuff like that really well, whereas Will Smith, it was kind of just the Will Smith. He was just himself, and it was just
we all love.
He was
Will
his charming
Smith.
self, and it was just funny in that way. Coming to that, I thought the movie was actually very funny, probably even funnier than the original, even though the original had Robin Williams. Like Ginny was very funny in the original, but I think all the characters are quite funny in this one.
I really love. I forgot her name, but the handmaiden.
Yes, she was very good. Yeah,
Dahlia.
Humor.
Dahlia.
Yeah.
So the humor with her and the genie, that was something that was new in this film.
Yeah, so they added her character in, and she was very good. I just wanted to come back to the original question of did it take you to a whole new world? I'll answer it from my perspective. I think it doesn't. Well, not quite. I think it takes you to a familiar world. A fun and familiar world. So it didn't like revolutionize Aladdin in any way. Like it was the same story, but it was told in a modern way.
Yeah.
Like some of the characters got modernized a little bit, which was good.
I would agree with that.
Going on with the positives. So we've mentioned Naomi Scott, Will Smith. I thought the music was great.
Oh, the music was phenomenal. It was amazing. The music, obviously all the original songs were so well done. And I also loved the addition of the new song, Speechless, which was Naomi Scott's, so it's sort of her theme song, isn't it?
Yes.
And I love that. That was really good, because I think other remakes have had other songs sort of added in,
and they
I'm not
kind
sure.
of didn't fit.
I wasn't quite sure if I liked them as much as the original songs from the films, but this one, definitely the addition of Speechless, sung by Naomi Scott, was really good. Really good.
And there's two versions of it in the movie as well.
There is.
Coming back to Guy Ritchie. So Guy Ritchie, he's known for his action, I wouldn't just say action, it's kind of like his stylistic approach to filmmaking. And you see his style in some of the music videos, especially Speechless, in terms of the way that's shot. That's kind of his style. And then there is some action in this movie where he gets to show off his style as well. In terms of positives, that's all I had. Did you have anything else? Positives?
So what have we said? The music, I think number one, we've said that. The way it was filmed, the way they used CGI for Raja and for Abu, those two characters.
I thought Abu was very good.
I thought Abu was very well done. Like, even the tiniest like facial expressions when he's upset or annoyed, I think all of that came through in the film, which was good, because I wasn't sure what they were going to do with Abu, like how they were going to show his character. And I think the carpet ride, that was so well shot.
A whole new world?
A whole new world. And even Arabian Nights, I think.
Arabian Nights was actually, I'll talk about it in more detail in spoilers, but I thought it was very well shot, and it was also a good introduction to the overall story. I'll talk about why in spoilers, but I thought that was very well done.
Yeah.
Will Smith's singing, it was good, but I think there was some auto-tune in there.
I think the start of the song wasn't as great when he was on the boat. I think, when he was singing that part, but I think when they took the shot away from him, and then the
It
actual...
was fine, I guess.
It was all right, yeah.
Even in some of the other songs, I think there was a bit of... Because he's not like a bassy singer. He's a very... you'll know more about singing than me. But he seems to have a sort of more of a high-pitched sort of voice. Whereas Robin Williams was much more of a bassy...
Yes, yeah. He sort of had that more deeper, lower range, I guess.
Yeah, so like...
Singing.
It doesn't really come through in some, like, it doesn't matter in some of the songs, but I think songs like Prince Ali,
it's a lot more heavier in the lower end. And same with Arabian Nights, although Arabian Nights, it's that power and that bass that really gives it that oomph, I think.
I'm not sure who sung Arabian Nights in the original though.
I'm not sure actually.
But all the songs were, all that being said, all the songs were very, very good in terms of the way they were picturized. They were pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some negatives. I had kind of already mentioned it. The CGI was a little bit suspect in some places in terms of the genie. You kind of get used to it. Like when he's first introduced, you're like, whoa, what's this? But after that, I kind of warmed up to it. It was fine. The other thing is it feels like it is this fantasy world. It's not meant to mirror real life, but it's a city in the middle of a desert, and it seems a little bit too clean, and everyone has amazing costumes, but they're very, very clean.
It's not as realistic,
everything seems a bit like
put together,
glossy and like well put together. It's a function of, I guess, Aladdin. Like even the animated series the animated movie was the same, but some people might feel that's a little bit, because Aladdin, at least, he's from the streets, so I thought he'd be a little bit more rugged.
Dusty.
Rugged and dusty, but he's just this clean-cut guy. Speaking of Aladdin, though, I thought he was... We've talked about how Jasmine, they kind of changed their character a little bit. So the Sultan, they changed his character. Jafar, we haven't spoken about, but his character is a little bit different too. Aladdin, though, was very much the same character.
Yes.
The actor, Mina Masood, he was very much like Aladdin. Like, he looks like him. He even sounds like him. They dressed him up like him, so that was good. I thought he was very good.
I think the tricky thing with casting for a film like this, and a lot of the Disney sort of musicals, is finding someone that can act well and sing well. Yeah. And I think that's what was really well done.
And I guess dance as well for this one.
And dance, because Mina Masood, like his voice is amazing, as is Naomi Scott's. Like they can both sing and act as well. So I think... That ticked both boxes, which is really hard to do, because often you'll have great actors and then they'll sort of, auto-tune the voices a little bit and it won't sound as good. But
singing-wise, I thought he was obviously he was good, but I think Naomi Scott was better.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, when they make these movies, they don't sing while they're while they're acting. They sing it.
They record it previously.
Yeah, and then they lip sync. Yeah. And for some of the scenes, it's not all his fault, but like some of the songs that he was in, it felt like he was lip syncing because of what was happening in those scenes as well. There was a lot happening in terms of movement and stuff. You could tell that there was a bit of a mismatch between his lips and the song, but I mean that's a function of all musicals.
I mean, it was the same with, I thought, Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson.
Well, and Emma Watson's probably not,
and she's not a
great
singer. Yeah, that's not her forte, I think. Yeah. But she did a great job at attempting it. And I know from a lot of interviews I watched, she did a lot of took a lot of singing lessons and things like that to work up to that. But
I think that, the two in this movie were probably better than her in terms of singing.
I think so, yeah.
The other negative I had was Iago.
Oh, yes. I wanted to see more of the original Iago, the humour around him.
I guess they tried to make it a little bit more realistic.
Yes,
but
they did.
They might as well have just gone full, because there's a lot of stuff in this movie isn't realistic.
Like Abu. I mean, Abu, they managed to, have his character.
But I guess Abu never
No, he
talks.
Doesn't talk.
Yeah.
No, that's true. But Iago does. I mean, they could have tried to, how parrots sort of mimic and impersonate.
I guess they sort of did that, but I always liked the dynamic between Jafar and Iago.
Me too.
Like they have these little conversations just by themselves, and they kind of don't do that in this one.
What was that quote that you always laugh about?
So in the original, it's not in this movie, unfortunately, but in the original, there's a line that Jafar says to Iago is like, "I love how your foul little mind works."
Oh, yeah.
But that's not in this one. He doesn't really, like, he listens to Iago, but he doesn't really have conversations with him.
Yeah.
Coming to Jafar, I think your negative was Jafar.
Well, I thought, so the actor,
Marwan Kenzari.
Yeah. His performance was excellent. But I just feel like this is what I was talking about earlier on in terms of costume and makeup. For me, having watched the original so many times and growing up with that movie, Jafar was always this sort of older, sort of really wicked looking character, with the evil twisted goatee and the wicked eyebrows that sort of curved up. I feel like that didn't come across as much with the makeup and the costume design in this film. Like, I just felt like Jafar was a little bit too, I don't know, it looked a bit too sort of neat, and his face, I mean, because it almost looked a little bit like more of a baby face than that older, more evil looking character. So I don't know, I just feel like that could have been tweaked because his performance itself was really good, but I just think maybe they could have just changed how he looked a little bit to make him, I don't know, seem a little bit more wicked. That's just one little thing I was thinking. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was, they did change his character. I guess they wanted to go with sort of a younger Jafar, I guess.
Younger, yeah.
But I get what you're saying in terms of, like, he looked a bit too neat.
Too neat, yeah.
So he looked a bit
even
too,
his facial hair and everything.
Like, he looked a bit too clean cut.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a criticism of all the movie, I guess. Everything looks a little bit too clean.
Yeah.
Like, even Aladdin, like, he looks very, very clean, like clean shaven, like very nice sort of guy. But in the animated movie, he's like that.
Yeah.
So they kind of followed the same thing, but they didn't follow the same thing with Jafar. So.
And also that there's this particular scene. Oh, maybe I'll get into this in spoilers.
Yeah. So actually, I think we're almost towards the end of the non-spoiler part of the review. Was there anything you wanted to say non-spoiler before we jump into spoilers?
No, I think let's get into the spoilers.
Yeah. So before we do that, we have a rating. So does it have the soul stone, which basically means does it have a bit of emotion? Does it tug the heartstrings? I think it does.
For me, yes, definitely.
I think it does. I mean, it's Aladdin. It's built on. Yeah. It's all built on soul.
I think the emotional connection was more because I've grown up with it. Yeah. So when I saw it, it just reminded me of those memories of watching the original.
That being said, I think the current generation, who are sort of our age when the 1992 movie came out, are now watching this movie and they're enjoying it like we did, I think. So there was this girl, the second time I watched it, I've watched this 2 times because people at work wanted to watch it and I couldn't say no because I'm a team player like that. So basically, the second time I watched it, there was this girl that was dancing in the aisles to the last song, I think, the very end credit song. She was having a good time.
This is A Whole New World sung by
No, not that one. There was the one before that, the dance number. I think it was A Friend Like Me.
Oh, okay, yeah. But
yeah, the kids were having a real good time. I think they'll
same
with Beauty and the Beast, the Emma Watson one. I think a lot of the kids just love that movie.
And I think it's wonderful that kids in this generation can now grow up with similar movies, with the remakes of Disney.
It's good and bad. I mean, Disney are very smart about it, so they know that they've got gold and they just want to keep using it. But at the same time, they're not really coming up with much original stuff anymore. A lot of it's just sequels or
the original
remakes.
Stuff I feel like they have come up with, I don't feel has been as good. I know, like Descendants, isn't that a Disney original?
It's a Disney Channel movie. Okay. I'm trying to think what was an original movie that they came up with. Like Pixar still does some original stuff, like Coco, and they still do some original stuff. But Disney, Frozen was an original.
Frozen was really
and Tangled
good.
was an original.
Yes, and Moana.
Was an original.
Oh yeah, there's been quite a few. And Brave.
Yep.
Yeah. So they
Brave was Pixar.
Brave was Pixar. Sorry. Yeah. So they have done a few, and
so they're still doing stuff. So it's got the Soul Stone. Does it have the Time Stone? Time Stone refers to whether there's I mean, this is not a great rating system. It sometimes falls apart when you talk about movies like this, but it's basically if there's jumps in time or there's flashbacks. Obviously, like a movie like Endgame has a lot of time travel.
Has a lot of time travel.
So that obviously gets time stone, but I don't think this has much.
This one, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
it has a flashback.
It's got not a flashback per se, but I think she references something that happens in the past, Naomi Scott, in a particular scene.
If you remember, the whole movie is actually a flashback.
Oh, actually, yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that detail.
But I don't think that counts.
But that was actually a really good addition because it's not meant to be a flashback in the original, is it?
No.
Well, yeah, because it's in the original. It starts off with
no. Actually, it is a flashback.
It is, yeah, because there's that guy, the merchant,
who's
selling the lamp,
and
then
he
talks about the story. Yeah, so it is actually, yeah.
But it probably doesn't get time stone. Power stone, which refers to mainly some big action, powerful characters, that sort of thing. I think it has that because Jafar is a powerful sorcerer, I guess, and then obviously Genie is the most powerful being in the world. So I think it gets the Power Stone. Mind Stone, does it make you think a bit? This is a tough one because it's primarily made for kids. So
make you think. I mean, for me, it didn't because I already knew the original story. So I feel like it was just revisiting.
And in the sense, like, there aren't many twists or turns or anything.
But I think that's because we've seen the film.
That's true.
But if you were watching this as a first-time viewer, I think there would be
twists. Would you be surprised? Probably not.
I mean, it's a classic Disney film. The endings are pretty predictable.
Yeah.
But I think the little twists, like, him getting caught by... Oh, I won't say.
Yeah, he gets caught by someone.
You can just delete that bit.
No, we're going to keep everything in. This is unedited. Is a mind... maybe half a mind stone? Because maybe, like, if you're watching it for the first... It's really hard for us to comment on it because we've
seen it. We know the story back to front. But I think, there would be some thinking involved if you were watching it for the first time.
Possibly.
A few little twists. I mean, if you don't know the story at all. Yeah. And actually, even for us, I mean, the humour was new and there are a couple of little things, obviously with Dahlia and stuff that was new.
Yeah, but in terms of making you laugh, I don't... in terms of making you think. I don't think it makes you... I don't think that it makes you think.
Fair enough, yeah.
So I would probably say it doesn't get the Mind Stone. The Reality Stone. So this is an interesting one too. Because we were just saying how sort of... It doesn't feel like it's a real world.
No.
Like it feels like it's a fantasy world.
It's a put-together world.
All that being said, though, the moral of the story is it's very much grounded in reality. So diamond in the rough, heart of gold, and doing the right thing. Yeah. I think that's a good lesson. I think in that way it is realistic. So maybe it does get the Reality Stone in that way. What do you think? In that way,
yeah. I think the underlying message gets the Reality Stone.
Yeah, the underlying message.
But the way it was filmed, not so much.
Yes, yeah. So I'll probably give it the Reality Stone just because that's what the moral of the story is. Like, that's why it was made. And the last stone is the Space Stone. I don't think this one gets it because there's nothing in space.
Well, what about the carpet ride?
They don't go into space.
They go above the clouds.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't count.
Officially, no.
Yeah, so that's no.
The Space Stone.
So it gets the soul, the power, the reality. So it gets 3 out of 6. I mean, that sounds like it's a bad score, but it's not, considering this is Aladdin, not Avengers Endgame.
I don't really understand this rating, but you guys...
I think we like it. If you had to rate it out of 10, what would you give it?
I would give it a 9.
Okay, so you loved it.
I loved it,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about my ratings that I would give for the other remakes as well, because obviously we've had a few. We've had Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Jungle Book. I think this is up there.
We'll talk about those.
We'll talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, we'll do it after spoilers. So we'll do some spoilers now. I thought I would talk about the notable improvements to the story, but before we do that, we'll talk about Arabian Nights, because it starts off with Arabian Nights just like the original does, but this one is interesting. Firstly, Agrabah is very different. Agrabah is not like the Taj Mahal in this one, like the castle.
It's more like a city.
I mean, it's more of a... Because Agrabah in the original, it looks like it's actually in the middle of the desert. Like, there's no water.
This is like a built-up city that sort of builds up on a slope to this
it's a little bit more like what an actual city might be like, and it's also a coast. It looks like it's a coastal city because there's some water.
Yes. It's funny, actually. It sort of reminded me of this city from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can't remember which season it was. Kishore might know, but...
Yeah. Well, if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, we have done a season 8. Like I mentioned before, it doesn't include me. So if you're hating this episode and you don't want like the sound of my voice, you can go listen to that one, which I don't feature in. Yeah, so I thought Arabian Nights was good because it introduces all the characters except for Aladdin.
And does it introduce Jafar?
Yes, because it shows him in front of the Cave of Wonders.
Well, that's how it ends.
Yeah, that's how it ends.
When I was talking about, the music and additions, I only mentioned Speechless, but this is pretty much an addition as well in terms of new music because they've extended it. Because the original song, Arabian Nights, is actually quite short and they've actually added a few more verses onto this.
Yes, they have.
A few more lyrics. And I thought that was really good. I loved how they filmed it.
Yeah, I thought it was, that's Guy Ritchie's style. That's sort of his thing.
So going in and out of the archways of the city, and it was just so
If you watch like Sherlock Holmes, he does a lot of that sort of stuff. And he does a lot of like cut and reverse, like slow-mo sort of stuff. He doesn't do it as much in this movie, but that's sort of the thing he does.
Yeah, it suited this song so well.
Yeah, so you see all the main characters in the song itself. So you see the Sultan, you see Raja, you see Jasmine, you see her handmaiden, you see Jafar, you see Iago, you see Abu. You actually see Abu as well. He's running on the street.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yes.
So you see all of them except, obviously, Genie...
Genie, you don't.
Genie is Will Smith, so you see him at the start, but you don't see the magic carpet. No. It was good introduction, and it has the titles just like they do it in the animated version, so that was really good. The notable improvements, which I wanted to touch on, obviously Jasmine is a much stronger character in this one, and I liked how they made her the Sultan at the end instead of doing the whole change the rules so Aladdin is the Sultan. Yeah.
So she's the Sultan and she can change the rules. She can do as she pleases. I love that. A female character stepping up into that leading role. That was empowering.
It's really a year for that sort of stuff with Captain Marvel as well. And there was, if you haven't seen Endgame, there's a scene in Endgame where all the female characters get together and bash up Thanos. Well, not bash up Thanos, but they kind of get together. So it's kind of like a year for that sort of stuff.
And I loved how she got her own theme song. I've said this before, but I feel like all other Disney princesses have. Actually.
And she doesn't.
And she never did, Jasmine. She was one of my favourite characters.
Yeah, you're right. None of them do, yeah.
Or I think pretty much Mulan does. Belle's got her own song.
As in, all of them do, except Jasmine.
Except Jasmine. So I think that was that was good. I've said that, but just wanted to reinforce.
The other thing I wanted to mention was the genie rules are slightly different in this movie as well. I think they're a slight improvement because, firstly, in the original, they never explain why no one recognizes Aladdin when he's Prince Ali.
Yes, I know, because it was just Aladdin dressed as a prince. So I always wondered, why couldn't Jasmine tell that it was him? If she likes this street rat from the streets, this boy that she's met, then, it's just literally him just wearing a hat and a robe. But that was actually explained in this film, which was good. And it was basically that it's genie magic. And when genie magic is in play, people don't recognize you. So I thought that was good.
That was good. And I also liked how she still does end up recognizing him.
She does. But that's more from his little personality, like his traits and what he does. Like the "Do you trust me?" That was a classic from the film.
So she does end up recognizing him, and then he actually says something which is probably quite true: is that people don't recognize you when you're royalty, which is probably. I don't know anyone who's from the royal family, but possibly that's how
connections there.
Possibly that's how they feel.
They're just human beings, but when you've got this sort of title, sometimes people look past that. It's maybe, I don't know if it's the same with celebrities. I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. And the other thing is you had to rub the lamp while you make a wish, which I'm not sure was a thing.
No, it wasn't a thing with in the original.
Yeah, because they kind of overcome the thing how they get out of the cave. Because in the animated one, I think he still doesn't lose a wish on it, but I think they kind of say that Genie just does it without Aladdin wishing for it.
Well, Aladdin, so in the original one, Aladdin's like, I bet you say you're a powerful genie. I think it's something like, he says, I bet you couldn't get me out of this cave.
Yeah, and
Genie
he just
magic
takes her out. Yeah.
And so I think Genie gets a little defensive, and then he wants to prove that he can, and then he takes Aladdin out of the cave. That's how they get out in the original.
And in this, Abu's the one.
This one's a bit tricky, yeah. So Abu rubs the lamp while Aladdin says, I wish. So technically Aladdin didn't rub the lamp.
Yes,
So it didn't count as a wish.
So I think that was a good sort of improvement that they put in as well. The other thing is they combined, the movie itself is longer than the animated version. I think this is about a little over 2 hours, and the animated version is about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So they do add some extra story threads into the movie, but they also remove some threads or combine some threads. So basically, Aladdin's introduction song is combined with him meeting Jasmine.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I thought it was a little bit rushed. I just thought, whoa, what's happening? You know, he's already met Jasmine. They're, you know, going through the streets. Like, it all happened too quickly. So, I wasn't sure if I actually liked how they did that. And that was that was the opening scene, one of the first scenes with, you know, Aladdin and Jasmine together. So I sort of wasn't sure whether I was going to like the film from watching that scene.
I actually liked how they combined it, because in the original, it feels like it probably could have been the same thing.
It probably could have, actually. I don't know whether it was necessary to have the scenes beforehand.
Yeah, so it kind of saves on time, and then they can add a bit more stuff. So that was good. And the other thing I wanted to mention in terms of the stuff they added was this handmaiden's character, which adds a lot of comedy to the movie.
That, yes. I think I really liked that aspect of the film.
In terms of the comedy, I think just her dynamic with Will Smith was really good as well. They have a couple of scenes which are quite funny. There's obviously this scene that they also added to the movie where Aladdin, after the Prince Ali song, they have this scene where Aladdin's giving them gifts. I don't think that was in the
No, that was not in the original, because in the original he just marches in and then he sort of shows off the magic carpet, and then the Sultan goes on a ride with the magic carpet.
Yes.
This one he brings them gifts, and there was so much, it was so funny. He'd brought
jams.
Some jams. Some jams.
Move away from the jams.
Yeah. So there's a scene where he's like, and I brought jam for you all. And then he's sort of like,
jams.
Yeah, jam. And he just keeps talking about the jam for like a good 5 minutes, and everyone's just got their eyebrows raised. And then Will Smith's like, let's move away from the jams. That's funny. Yeah, that was really good. But yes, I agree. The comedy with, you know, the Dahlia, the handmaiden, and Will Smith, that was a really nice addition, I thought. And there was one scene that I don't know whether I was hoping for them to add in, but you know, Jafar meets Aladdin. So Aladdin gets caught. He's taken to jail in the original film, I'm saying. And then Jafar's dressed up as this old guy.
Yeah.
Comes to him and says, do you want all the money that you know, blah, 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 all the riches in the world, come with me, I have a secret. I thought that was actually better done, because I don't think Aladdin's meant to know
who Jafar
is.
Yeah.
So that was different in this film, because he knew it was Jafar from the outset. But it kind of works for this movie because they wanted him to know what was happening with Jafar for the whole movie. Whereas in the original, Jafar, I think he had a lot more power because no one knew what he was up to. So Aladdin didn't know either because he was disguised as this old man. Yeah, I mean, that was one change. Jafar in this doesn't seem like he's as experienced as the Jafar in the animated version. Yeah.
I mean, he talks about like how he's risen up from like...
He seems more good. I mean, not good, like he's still evil, but he just doesn't seem as wicked. I know I've said this before, but he looks too...
He's not as menacing, and his voice isn't as like... In the original, he's like this British guy, and he has like a deep voice, and he sounds a little bit more menacing, whereas in this one he's a little bit more like
just normal. But maybe if they were trying to go down that whole realistic path, then this is more realistic.
I still thought he was okay, but yeah, that is one thing that they changed, that they probably could have kept the same as the original.
I loved the dance scene.
Yes, that was very funny.
That was so funny. So that was when Aladdin meets Jasmine, obviously as the Prince Ali. Prince Ali meets Jasmine. She's obviously like, doesn't like him. And then they all have this ball or something to celebrate the arrival of Prince Ali. And then, you know, Will Smith's trying to encourage Aladdin to, you know, go
dance,
talk to the princess, go and dance. And that was really funny how he's, you know, how the genie's controlling his dance moves. That was actually well performed, I thought, because So obviously Mina Masood can dance, but the way he's sort of moving as if it's not him voluntarily dancing.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite humorous.
The other thing I wanted to say was the climax of this movie. I always thought the climax of the original wasn't great, to be honest. Jasmine's in this, like, stuck in this hourglass and, like...
I liked that better in the original. Did you?
Okay. No, I thought it was better in this one because...
Oh, wait, hang on. So she's stuck in the hourglass and then she sort of pretends like she's under Jafar's spell. And
yeah, there's all that stuff that's happening. Like, she's stuck in the hourglass and then Aladdin has to get her out and all this. In this, it seems a little bit...
more realistic.
More realistic and more in line with Jasmine's character in this movie.
Yeah.
Because she's a strong character and like she's much more independent and it makes more sense in this one, how it pans out.
Yeah, actually I would say I would have to agree. And I really liked how they had a more personal relationship with the guards, with Hakeem.
Yes, that's
right. Who is he? Is he the
I think
leader
he's like
of the army
chief
or something?
Guard or something. Yeah.
Because in the original, there's no personal connection at all. There's just some random guards that are around, but obviously there's a connection here. Oh, and I've got to say, one thing that was added was they had more references to Jasmine's mother's country or mother's city.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
they didn't have. Do you remember what the name of the city was?
It was Shezabad or something like that. I'm trying to
or something.
Something, yeah. It wasn't that. It was something like that.
That was nice, actually.
Yeah.
Because they don't mention Jasmine's mother much at all in the original film. Whereas to have those references and to have where she came from and, I thought that was really nice. That's how Hakeem's reference comes in as well. Like, he was around when Jasmine's mother was around. He fought for Jasmine's mum. So,
yes, yeah.
That was a really powerful dialogue. The way it was written in that scene was good, where she...
After Speechless, at
the end of the song. So there's this bit where... Well, she pretty much questions Hakeem's choice to support Jafar and references back to how Hakeem fought alongside, protected her mother and fought alongside her city. Something like that, isn't it?
Something along those lines,
Yeah.
So that was good, But yeah, did you have anything else in terms of stuff they added or?
Just trying to think. Well, nothing that we haven't mentioned. We haven't mentioned the dance. You remember how... So a whole new world has happened. And then Aladdin gets caught by the guards and then gets thrown into the water. So in the original film, the genie just sort of helps him, doesn't he? It's not really a wish, but in this one, he has to get him to sign a contract.
I think it is a wish in the original one well.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember, but I think it is. What's the second wish in the original one?
I can't remember. Maybe you're right.
I think it is. Yeah. But in the original, that scene is not from the actual palace. It's like somewhere else. Right?
Yeah.
That was another Guy Ritchie style shot. They
throw him
off, and there's a bit of slow mo, and you see him. That's his sort of thing. In the original and also this one, there's also this underlying plot line with Abu and the magic carpet.
Yes.
How they sort of, Abu doesn't like him in the beginning and they sort of become friends afterwards. Yeah. Happens in this one as well. I think Raja wasn't in this one as much.
I thought he was in it just as much as he was in the original.
Yeah,
he
Raja
didn't have a massive role.
The pet tiger of Jasmine.
I loved how he recognized Aladdin.
Yeah.
In that scene where, Prince Ali / Aladdin comes to take Jasmine on a carpet ride. Yeah. How Raja starts growling and then he sort of realizes it's the same boy from the marketplace.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I like that. Oh, and that was another additional scene, how Aladdin as Aladdin, not as Prince Ali, how he comes to return Jasmine's bracelet.
Comes to the palace, yes.
And sneaks past the guards and everything.
And that's how he gets captured.
By Jafar and taken to the Cave of Wonders. Yeah, so I thought that was nice. And once again, another reference to her mother, the mother's bracelet. So there's a few more references, which I liked.
I think that's all we had in terms of spoilers.
I love the ending. How he sets the genie free. Yeah. And then Dahlia and the genie travel the world together on the boat. And that brings us back to the starting scene.
And that brings us back. I just wanted to talk about all the music numbers in the movie itself.
Yep.
So we've got Arabian Nights, which we talked about, which is performed by Will Smith in this one. We got One Jump Ahead.
One jump ahead of it. Yeah.
That's performed by Mina Masood. That was pretty good. Yeah.
I thought that was good.
That was the one I was mentioning in terms of you could tell that he was kind of lip syncing because there was a lot happening. He was moving around and stuff.
So that's the scene where Jasmine's in it as well, because originally it's just Aladdin jumping, through the city with a loaf of bread that he's stolen.
Yes.
Whereas this is Aladdin and Jasmine running away from the guards. That's when this song came in.
Yes.
So that was pretty well done.
And then we got Speechless. There's two versions of
Yes.
Speechless.
So it's actually one big song, obviously, when you listen to it on Spotify or, on YouTube. But in the movie, it's
split up. And then we got Friend Like Me.
Yes.
Performed by Will Smith.
Yep. That was really
I thought it was really good.
Filmed. Yeah. I wasn't sure how they were going to do that, but obviously with a lot of effects. And they did a good job.
Yeah. No, it looked really good. We'll talk about which was our favourite song afterwards. Prince Ali, which was also quite good, performed by Will Smith. So which one was your favourite song?
Oh no, is that? And then Whole New World.
And then Whole New World.
Oh, this is a tricky one because I love all the songs. But for me, in this film, I would have to say Speechless was my favourite, and then A Whole New World. But in the original, A Whole New World, love it. But yeah, in this film, that Speechless just stood out because it was something new as well. And I really liked that.
For me, it was Whole New World was good, but I liked Friend Like Me.
Yep. Okay. And you forgot Prince Ali. Did you say
I
that?
said Prince Ali,
you did. Yeah.
No, I liked Friend Like Me first, and then probably Speechless.
Yeah. I would say actually, Speechless, A Whole New World, and then I would actually say for me, I loved Arabian Nights as well. So that's in my top 3. Yeah. We forgot.
I really like Friend Like Me. I thought that was really good. Especially in the cinema, it's good. With all the effects and how it was picturized. We will quickly talk about the other live action Disney movies, where this one ranks in those. So I've got a list of them. They've done quite a few, actually.
They have.
So I'll start with, I think this is a full list. I might have missed something, but Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
The one with Johnny Depp. Alice in Wonderland 2 and Maleficent. Cinderella, Pete's Dragon, Beauty and the Beast, The Jungle Book, Christopher Robin, Aladdin, Dumbo, and obviously we haven't seen Lion King, but they're doing Lion King.
Did you say Beauty and the Beast?
Yes. All of them are not remakes. Some of them are sort of spin-offs. Like Maleficent's
not
sort
a
of a
remake.
retelling.
Well, it's not even a retelling. We never knew Maleficent's story at all. We just saw the evil, wicked side to her. But then this film actually brought out her other story, like her side of the story and why she became...
And I think Christopher Robin is a sequel.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So it's not a remake. It's just more of Winnie the Pooh. Can't go wrong there.
Which one was your favourite
out
of all of those?
I love Beauty and the Beast. I'd say Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin were my favourites.
Yeah.
I can't really pick between the two. I feel like the music in Aladdin was better done, but I loved Emma Watson as Belle, and I love Beauty and the Beast. I've always loved that story. So the retelling of that and the way that was, filmed, and that I loved that. So those two are my top favourites, I would say.
Okay.
I haven't seen Dumbo.
No, we haven't seen Dumbo.
No,
and we haven't seen Pete's Dragon.
Haven't seen that either. But is Pete's Dragon... is it a remake?
Yeah.
I don't think I've even seen the original.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it either. Yeah.
I'd say my third one would be probably Cinderella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Cinderella.
I really liked Lily James. Oh, she was beautiful in that. Yeah, so I really enjoy that. So those are my top 3. But yeah, Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast, I'd say are almost equal.
For me, my favourite is probably Jungle Book.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I quite like Jungle Book.
That was very, very well filmed. That was very well done. The CGI in that is amazing. Yeah.
And Jon Favreau is now directing Lion King, so we'll see how he goes with that. But I think my favourite is probably Jungle Book, and I did like Beauty and the Beast, and I did like Cinderella. I thought Cinderella was really good. Yeah. I think Cinderella's underrated. I really like Cinderella. I think it's
underrated as well. Beauty and the Beast, there was a lot of hype about, and it got a lot of attention, I think. Yeah. Even on social media and everything. But Cinderella, I don't feel like it was hyped as much. Or maybe it's just because it came out a little while ago and I can't remember. But the reason Jungle Book, I agree. I think in terms of the CGI and the filming, I actually think Jungle Book was amazing compared to the 3 that I listed. But I think the story itself, I've always loved the classics of Beauty and the Beast, the original storylines of these 3 films that I mentioned compared to Jungle Book.
Which one are you most looking forward to? In terms of, so there's Lion King this year,
yeah,
and there's Mulan next year.
Oh, yes, Mulan. I love Mulan. So I would have to say Mulan, actually, which surprises me because Lion King was the first film I ever watched, like as a kid, and I loved it. But I think Mulan, just the storyline, it's always been one of my favorites. And I love the character Mulan, just so cool.
The other thing I wanted to mention actually was, we didn't talk about it in the review, was the casting. It's good that they actually went with
it's
actors.
an all-Asian cast, I think, Mulan.
For Mulan, yes, it is. And for this one, it's good that they went with actors that actually look Middle Eastern.
Yes. I mean, just branches it out. I think they did a good job. My sister was saying, though, that Naomi Scott, she felt that they actually used quite a lot of bronzer on her to make her look darker.
I think they did.
I'm not sure if that's the case, but yeah.
Well, unless... The only other movie I've seen her in was Power Rangers, where she was the Pink Ranger, and she was very white in that.
Yeah.
So maybe they made her look white in that.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Because I've seen her in interviews and she doesn't look too pale or anything. She looks like, I think, how she looked in the film, maybe with a touch of bronzer. I'm not sure. Yeah, anyway, that was just something my sister brought up and I was like, oh, interesting. I didn't notice that.
And the other thing I wanted to say also was the costumes in this. In the original, like Jasmine...
doesn't change outfits
90% of the time she wears that same outfit. The blue outfit. The Sultan always wears the same thing. Yeah. It's good that they have...
change of outfits, yes.
Yeah, I mean...
Which is more realistic. I mean, surely they've got to change clothes in their lives.
Yeah, I mean, and they're royalty, so they can obviously afford clothes.
Oh, I've got to say, that outfit... So when she... Is it her second entrance, I think, when she's meeting...
When she's actually Jasmine.
When she's actually Jasmine. So not when she's on the streets with Aladdin, but when she's in the in the castle, and then she's, she enters and there's some other random prince to see her from Scotland or whatever. And the entrance that she makes and the outfit she has on in that scene is amazing. Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. And she just looks... She looks like a queen, like she looks amazing, and just her poise and everything. I love that scene. And I think a lot of people, I've seen a few videos on YouTube where people are reacting to the trailer or reacting to the song Speechless, and like a lot of their jaws drop when they see that scene because it's just amazing. They
did well with all the costumes. I thought.
I think so. Yeah. Except Jafar's. That was the only one.
I mean, some people really didn't like it. Like, they were saying he looked like a Power Rangers bad guy in terms of his costume.
Jafar's costume.
But I didn't think it was that bad.
With Jafar's costume, if you actually look very closely at an image from, Jafar in the original film, so obviously he's got, his black cape, his black robe and then the red cape. If you look closely at his turban or hat, whatever you like to call it, you can see the gold sort of curve detailing, so how it curves up, and the curves on his hat actually match the upward curves of his eyebrows, which I feel actually gives his face that more sinister look. And then I think also in terms of, the actual face itself, his goatee is a lot more prominent. And then his moustache as well. It's like sort of this bold line that sort of curves across his face. So I think there are a couple of things. And he's got a lot more eyeliner on as well in the original animated film. So, those just... it doesn't take much to make those little changes, but I think they can really enhance that appearance of looking really evil.
Menacing,
Yeah. So, I mean, you can pull out an image for those listening just of Jafar from the animated film and you'll see what I mean, hopefully.
Yeah, some of that stuff is hard to do in real life.
It is hard to do, but I mean, not really. Like the hat and the eyebrows, you can always fill in eyebrows with some extra makeup, can't you? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about actually is the staff. Yeah. We didn't mention the staff. He doesn't
use it as much in this one.
Yeah. Whereas he does in the original.
In the original, he uses it a lot more.
More.
In this one, he uses it a little bit less.
Yeah. But that was good.
In terms of how it looked.
Yeah, in terms of Jafar's costume, I think the staff.
Yeah, the staff
was it was good. It looked good. Yeah. It was made well. I was gonna say A Whole New World. Have we touched on the carpet, like the way they filmed that?
No, we didn't.
Yeah. So I think I liked the way they filmed this better than in the original.
In the original, there's parts of both that I like. In the original, they end up in China. I don't think... do you remember? They actually end up in China.
Actually, there's this scene where there's this shot where they show a map and like a dotted line of where they're going. Is that right?
That might be another movie, but they literally go around the world
in the original.
In the original,
in this one they sort of fly a little bit away from
so they're still
Aqaba
sort of in the same country, I think.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess it's more realistic.
I love the way it was filmed, I think. Just, the different camera angles. One scene you're sort of front on, sort of seeing them ride towards you, and then you sort of got the bird's eye view, and then you're like, you are the eyes of the carpet at one scene.
Yeah.
There were a few more camera angles, and I liked that better.
That's right, yeah.
You sort of felt like you were on the carpet ride, like with them.
No, that was really good.
But obviously the original has a bit more. There's unicorns in the original, isn't there?
I'm not sure.
Flying horses.
Yeah, I mean, they go to like Egypt and stuff.
So there's a few more unrealistic but little quirky bits.
They also do fly above the clouds in this, which is not realistic at all. So
no, it's not. But they do in the original as well. They actually fly around a cloud and it becomes like a fairy floss, like ice cream.
I think that's all. That's all we had. We obviously enjoyed Aladdin.
I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was. I loved it. It met my expectations, I would say.
I liked it. I thought it was really good. We will finish with the Who Am I?
Yes. Can I say the answer?
Not yet. I'll you're very keen.
I don't know how this works.
Let's not be too hasty.
Still, I think he's rather tasty.
I'll go through the clues again, and then you can say who it is. Mm-hmm. I was a traveller studying the African lands and eventually stumbled upon the Pride Lands, where I was attacked by a young pack of hyenas. I was saved by a Hadi, a former ruler of the Pride Lands. Eventually taking residence in the vast lands, I soon became close companions of Hadi's son, and one day overheard a plot to sabotage the throne and managed to foil it. My heroic performance throughout that event led to Hadi requesting that I serve as an advisor to all future kings. As the years went on, I started to live in an ancient tree where I regularly performed shamanistic activities. I still remain a close friend of the royal family, and my goal is to maintain balance and the circle of life. Who am I?
Rafiki.
It is Rafiki.
It is, yes. When you were saying all of that, I feel like there should be a movie made about Rafiki.
Yeah,
we don't know much about him. He's got a bit of a past there.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a backstory. Yeah. Hadi is Mufasa's father.
Right. Did they mention him in the original?
I don't think so.
Because when you started off saying that name, I had no idea who you were talking about. But then,
Yeah, so he becomes friends with Mufasa. Rafiki becomes friends with Mufasa, and then we get to the Lion King. So yeah.
They might have more references to it in the remake. That's
possibly
releasing soon,
but I don't think so. I think they're just going to literally
copy the original,
make the original.
Stick to the original story. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The music, Lion King as well.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. They got some good. They got a good cast for that too. Okay. I think that's all we had about Aladdin. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you want to get in touch with us, so we have 3 different channels that you can contact us on. One is email at cognitiverecalibration@gmail.com. cognitiverecalibrationpodcast@gmail.com. On Twitter, we're at C Recalibration, and on Instagram, we're Cognitive Recalibration. Speaking of social media, if you haven't liked our Facebook page, please do so, because we're updating all our latest episodes on that. And so you can keep in touch with what we're up to and what we're going to do. And if you really do like our podcast, do consider subscribing and let your friends know as well if they're into this sort of thing, so they can also tune in. Lastly, we need to thank our special guest for this episode. Thank you, Kavya, for coming on. Last minute, short notice. I couldn't get Will Smith.
I'll get him
next time. Yeah. But you were a very good replacement for Will Smith.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it.
So if you want to check out what Kavya's been up to, check out her YouTube channel, Life of Kotts. She does covers for a lot of different songs. She did Whole New World. That's the only Disney one you've done,
That's the only Disney one I've done, which is surprising because I do love my Disney. But I think I'll do a few more Disney ones. I might even do Speechless.
Yes. Yeah, so stay tuned for that one. Okay, so that's all we had. We'll see you guys in the next episode, where we'll probably be reviewing Godzilla King of Monsters, if I can convince the person sitting across from me to watch it today. So
I'm not spending my Sunday watching that. I know I'm not really into the whole.
Yeah, you might. You never know. You might be.
I've seen one of them.
You might enjoy this one. It's got the girl from Stranger Things in it.
Oh yeah.
11.
I'll see. I'm a bit busy today.
Okay, so we'll see you guys in another episode of Cognitive Recalibration. See you later.